Hey everyone, let us talk about something that is probably on a lot of our minds. Money. I mean, who doesn't think about it, right? For a long time, I thought about it in all the wrong ways. I was that guy, the one who saw dollar signs everywhere and thought I had all the answers. Spoiler alert, I didn't. Not even close. I came from a pretty average family, nothing fancy, nothing extravagant. So the idea of making a lot of money and making it fast was super appealing. I was in my early 20s, full of energy and convinced I was some kind of financial prodigy. Looking back, that is almost laughable. I got sucked into the hype, the get-rich, quick schemes, the whisper networks about the next big thing. Everyone around me seemed to be talking about hot stocks, crypto surges, and these amazing opportunities that would supposedly make you rich overnight. I bought into it all, hook, line, and sinker. I started chasing every trend, every hot stock, every tip I heard from some random person on the internet, or a buddy who knew a guy. I was always buying at the peak, selling at the bottom, just constantly reacting to what everyone else was doing. It was a roller coaster, but not the fun kind, more like the kind that makes you want to throw up. I put money into things I barely understood just because the numbers were going up, or so I thought. I got involved in some short-term trading that was supposed to be easy money, but it just became a quick way to lose money. Then there were the scams. Oh man, the scams when you are desperate to make a quick buck. Your judgment goes out the window. I fell for some pretty convincing stories, promises of unbelievable returns, and before I knew it, a good chunk of my savings was gone. Poof. Just like that. I remember one time I put almost all my savings into a single stock. It was supposed to be a sure thing. Everyone was saying it. I didn't understand risk management. I didn't understand diversification. I just saw the potential for huge gains. I went all in and then it crashed. Not a little dip, a full-blown nosedive. I watched my hard-earned money just evaporate in front of my eyes. That was a gut punch, a serious wake-up call. The emotional toll of watching your money disappear, knowing you worked so hard for it, that is something else. I was constantly checking my phone, my mood swinging with every market fluctuation. It was exhausting. And frankly, pretty unhealthy. I was making decisions based on fear and greed, not logic or a well-thought. How planned my emotions were running the show, and my bank account paid the price. I kept making these mistakes over and over until I had pretty much lost all the savings I had worked so hard to build up. It was a really dark period. I felt like a complete failure, embarrassed and ashamed, but it was also the turning point. After hitting rock bottom, I finally realized something had to change. I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. The get-rich, quick dream was a nightmare in disguise, so I stopped. I took a step back, licked my wounds, and started to actually educate myself. I started reading books, watching legitimate financial educators, and really trying to understand the fundamentals of investing in personal finance. I learned about compound interest, about low-cost index funds, about budgeting, about having an emergency fund. These weren't the exciting, flashy topics, but they were the bedrock of real financial security. It took a while, but I started to shift my mindset from how can I get rich fast to how can I build wealth steadily and securely. I moved away from aggressive, speculative investments and started focusing on a more balanced, long-term approach. I prioritized saving, building up a solid emergency fund, and then investing in diversified, low-risk assets. It is not as thrilling, but it is much more effective and, honestly, much less stressful. I am not saying I am a financial guru now, not at all. I am just a regular guy who made a lot of mistakes and wants to share what I learned. So maybe, just maybe, you don't have to make the same ones. I've completely changed my relationship with money. It is no longer about chasing fleeting gains, but about building a stable future. Now, my focus is on sharing my experiences, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. I want to talk about how I fell into those traps, what I learned, and what new investors, especially those in their 20s, can do to avoid these common pitfalls. I am here to give you the real talk. No sugar, coding, no fancy jargon, just practical advice from someone who has been there. I am not selling anything. I am not promoting any specific product. My goal is simply to help you think critically about your money, to understand the basics, and to build a solid financial foundation that will serve you well for years to come. I am all about a steady, sensible approach now, and I want to help you cultivate that same mindset. One of the biggest lessons I learned is the importance of understanding risk. When I started, I just saw potential upside. I ignored the downside completely. I thought I was invincible. But the market doesn't care how confident you are. It will humble you. So always understand the risks involved before you put your money anywhere. Don't invest in things you don't understand. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That is a cliche for a reason. It is true. And seriously, don't let FOMO, the fear of missing out, drive your decisions. Everyone talks about the wins, but nobody talks about the losses. And trust me, there are always losses. Focus on your own financial goals, your own situation, and don't compare yourself to others. Another huge takeaway for me was the importance of patience building. Wealth takes time. It is a marathon, not a sprint. I was so impatient, always wanting instant results. That is why I fell for all the quick money schemes. Now, I understand that consistency and discipline are far more powerful than any short-term gamble. Regularly saving, consistently investing, and letting compound interest do its magic, that is the real secret. It is boring, yes, but it works. And it lets you sleep at night, which is priceless. Don't underestimate the power of starting small and being consistent. Even a little bit saved and invested regularly can grow into a significant amount over time. I also learned a lot about separating my emotions from my money. This is probably one of the hardest things to do when the market is volatile. It is easy to panic sell when things are down, or get greedy and buy too much when things are soaring. Both can lead to bad decisions. I've done both. Now I try to have a plan and stick to it regardless of what the market is doing in the short term. It is about having a long-term perspective and not letting the daily fluctuations dictate your actions. This is where having a clear financial plan really helps. It provides a roadmap and helps you stay disciplined when things get tough. My hope with this channel is to create a space where we can talk openly about money, about mistakes, and about learning. I am not here to pretend I am perfect. I am far from it. My journey has been messy, full of setbacks, and honestly pretty painful at times. But I am sharing it all because I genuinely believe that by being transparent about our failures, we can all learn and grow. So if you are in your 20s and just starting out with your finances, or even if you are a bit further along and just looking for a different perspective, I hope you all stick around. Let us learn from my screw up so you don't have to make the same ones. This isn't about becoming a millionaire overnight. This is about building a solid, secure financial future, step by painful, yet ultimately rewarding step. Let us build a foundation that can withstand the ups and downs of life. I want to emphasize that I am not giving financial advice. I am sharing my personal experiences and lessons learned. Always do your own research and consider consulting with a qualified financial advisor before making any significant financial decisions. What worked or didn't work for me might be different for you. Everyone's situation is unique, but the principles of financial literacy, understanding risk, and avoiding common pitfalls, those are universal, and those are the things I want to focus on. I believe that understanding these basic principles can empower anyone to make better financial choices. So, what is next for me and for us here? I am going to be diving deeper into specific financial traps I fell into, breaking down why they were dangerous, and offering practical strategies to steer clear of them. We'll talk about budgeting, saving strategies, understanding different types of investments, and how to identify scams. We'll also explore the psychological aspects of money because a lot of our financial decisions are driven by our emotions, not always by logic. I am excited to share more of my journey and learn alongside all of you. My goal is to equip you with the knowledge and the mindset to navigate the financial world with confidence, to build a future that you are excited about, and to avoid the painful lessons I had to learn the hard way. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Let us be smart about our money together. One of the big game changers for me was truly understanding compound interest. Before, it was just a fancy term in finance textbooks. Now, I see it as this incredibly powerful force that works tirelessly for you if you let it. Imagine your money working for you, earning more money, and then that new money also starts earning money. It is like a snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and faster with time. The key is to start early, even with small amounts. Those small, consistent contributions over many years can grow into something truly significant. My younger self, caught up in the thrill of day trading, completely missed this fundamental concept. I was so busy trying to hit home runs that I forgot about the steady, reliable singles that win the game over time. Another aspect that I completely ignored in my early days was the impact of fees. When you are making frequent trades, especially in actively managed funds or through platforms with high transaction costs, those fees eat away at your returns. It is like having a tiny leak in your financial bucket, slowly but surely draining away your potential gains. I learned the hard way that low-cost index funds and ETFs are often a much smarter choice for long-term investors. They offer broad diversification and generally have much lower fees. It is not as exciting as picking individual stocks, but it is incredibly effective for building wealth over time. Every dollar saved on fees is a dollar that stays invested and continues to compound for you. And let us talk about the allure of hot tips or insider information. I was definitely guilty of chasing these. Someone would tell me about a stock that was about to explode or a crypto project that was the next big thing, and I'd jump in without doing any real research. It felt like I was getting an advantage, like I was in on a secret, but almost every single time it ended up being a dud or worse, a scam. The truth is, if it is public knowledge, it is already priced in. And if it is truly insider information, you probably shouldn't be acting on it anyway. Real investing is about secret shortcuts. It is about diligent research, understanding a company's fundamentals, and having a long-term vision. Now, when I hear someone touting a sure thing, my skepticism radar goes off immediately. The concept of paying yourself first was also revolutionary for me before. I'd pay all my bills, spend on whatever I wanted, and then whatever was left, if anything, would go into savings. Most months, there wasn't much left. Now, as soon as my paycheck hits, a portion automatically goes into my savings and investment accounts. It is non-negotiable. It forces me to live within my means and ensures that my financial future is being prioritized. It is a simple shift, but it has a profound impact on building wealth. It reframes saving from an afterthought to a priority. This discipline, though initially difficult, has become a habit that I can't imagine living without. I also want to touch on the idea of financial independence for me. That is not necessarily about retiring at 30 and never working again. It is more about having options, about having the freedom to pursue things you are passionate about without being solely driven by the need to earn a paycheck. My early mistakes put me further away from that goal. Now, with a more sensible approach, I feel like I am actually making progress. It is about building a financial cushion that allows you to take calculated risks, to change careers, or to simply have peace of mind knowing you are prepared for whatever life throws your way. It is a journey, not a destination, and it is a journey I am now much more confident in navigating. My biggest takeaway from all of this is that personal finance is, well, personal. What works for one person might not work for another. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. However, there are fundamental principles that apply to everyone, like living below your means, avoiding high-interest debt, saving consistently, and investing wisely for the long term. These are the boring, unsexy aspects of money, but they are the ones that actually build lasting wealth. I wish I had understood this in my early 20s instead of chasing the flashy speculative investments that promised the world and delivered nothing but headaches. My goal now is to empower you to avoid those very same headaches. I am still learning. Every single day, the financial world is constantly evolving, and there is always something new to understand. But now I approach it with curiosity and a healthy dose of skepticism rather than blind optimism and a desire for instant gratification. This change in mindset has been the most valuable asset I've gained from my years of financial missteps. It is about having a long-term perspective, understanding that building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint, and that patience and discipline are far more potent than any quick money scheme. I truly believe that by sharing my story, by being open about my mistakes, I can help others navigate their own financial journeys with greater confidence and fewer regrets. Let us keep learning, keep growing, and keep building a more secure financial future for ourselves.